Show. Come on.
Yes.
Monster May.
It is Monster May.
See.
And tonight I'm going to be talking about the Owlman. The Owlman. You probably heard of Mothman, Wolfman, Dogman, maybe even Turtleman or Frogman. This is Owlman, a lesser known cryptid, but nevertheless just as impactful and just as storied as the other fabled creatures I just mentioned not but 5 seconds ago. Have you ever heard of the Owlman?
I don't know. Maybe.
Come on.
You never talk about on this show? There's so many months I can't keep track.
I know. That we talk about so many different cryptids and monsters that it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. But yeah, this is the Owlman, and this basically takes place in England, the United Kingdom. England.
Mm-hmm.
And there's various links in the description to this. And also, I discovered this in this book, Encounters with Flying Humanoids. This is written by Ken Gerhard. He's got a bunch of different cryptozoological books. This one is very, very well put together, and he just focuses on flying humanoids in this book, which is fucking fantastic. All right. So the Owlman, and I procured some owl hoots for everyone out there as well. Oh yes, you like that? Oh yeah, that's some good.
Man, you're prepared. You made a drop.
I did.
Music drop, an intro drop, and owl sounds, and you read.
I read a little bit. I tried to read. I mostly glanced, but I'm somewhat prepared. We'll see how this goes, though. It might all fall apart here in a few seconds. And what I'm reading from is the forgotten story of the Cornish Owlman of Mawnan that terrorized the village and scared off holidaymakers. And this comes from cornwelllive.com. You can check that out. And this article goes on to say a hybrid creature, half man, half owl, which allegedly scared off two teenagers from Cornwell, seems to be well and truly gone more than 40 years after it first haunted the village. The story goes back to April 1967. Two teenage girls, according to local folklore, were on holiday with their parents in Mawnan, near Falmouth. One day they walked down to the old and remote church more than a mile from the village center. There, the two teenage girls saw a terrifying birdman with wings and feathers on top of the church tower, and the story says that they were so scared by the sighting that their father decided to put an end to their holiday and leave Cornwall immediately. On July of the same year, two 14-year-old girls decided to go camping in the area and spotted a giant owl about the size of a human with glowing eyes. At the time, all eyes turned to the village, and the discovery made headlines naming the beast Owlman. Okay. However, the Owlman was quickly branded a hoax when people realized that all reports led back to one man, a magician, a paranormal researcher, Tony Doc Shields. At the time, the mysterious man was having a moment of glory for taking part in a project to find and invoke monsters. He also allegedly saw the Loch Ness Monster and took a picture of it. He lived in St. Ives for years before moving to the area near Cornwall. People dismissed the claims of there being an Owlman haunting the church, its yards, and nearby woods, explaining that the teenagers had probably seen a very large owl if they saw anything at all. But since then, several sightings of the creature have been reported on the internet. Yet 42 years later, the spooky tale of the Owlman seems to be long forgotten. Although many Cornish people still remember the story, when Cornwell Live decided to drive down to the small village to find out more, people said they had not heard of its name for many, many years. Still today, the place is quite spooky. A gate leading to the churchyard shows a dramatic-looking inscription, actually in Cornish. So what this article doesn't really go into is the dynamics of what the girls saw and the role of that magician, Mr. Shields. And the guy, Mr. Shields, was known for being a self-proclaimed magician and paranormal researcher. And he traveled around with his family doing some plays. He was also an actor and artist. He was doing a play in the area at the time when the initial sightings did happen. He was curious. He tracked down where the story originated from, talked to the family, asked to interview the girls, and the father rejected. He's like, "No, you can't interview my girls. Get the hell out of here, you crazy actor magician." But the father did hand over a sketch of the Owlman that the girls made, and the description is like a 6-foot tall, kind of half man, half bird, but the feet were crab-like, and they were like pinchers. And in the second story, where there's two girls out camping, they were just camping near a grave site, if I recall correctly. They saw this Owlman standing on its like pincher-like claws, and they were absolutely terrified. And they stated they locked eyes with this thing. They locked a gaze with this thing for what felt like 30 seconds to a minute before it flew off into the air. It like spread its wings and flew off into the air, but without flapping at all. And there's a third story that occurred as well, where a man was walking a few years later, was walking through the area with his flashlight, looked up in the trees, caught the eyes in the flashlight of the Owlman, and they were just fiery red. And it's basically hung around there in the top of the trees for a few seconds, and then took off into the air without flapping again. And there have been other more recent sightings of the Owlman in the area. Something as recent as like the mid 1980s, maybe late early 90s, that would kind of rule out that Mr. Shields, the magician actor, was the one behind all the hoax. He could have been behind some of them, but not all the sightings.
Allegedly. And, there's a lot of parallels between what people see and what they saw with the Owlman and also Mothman. Very similar descriptions, like almost grayish white type of feathers, similar type of build, flying around, piercing red eyes. There are reports from England with these type of creatures. Then you have various reports all over America with flying creatures, the most popular being Mothman. Then there are numerous reports of flying creatures in Brazil. And one such encounter was, there were two kids in Brazil. They were playing up on top of a rock face very high up. One of the brother and sister were up there. The sister kind of went over the ledge by accident. The brother reached down to try to help up his sister, but also lost his grip, and they were falling, and they claim to have been caught in midair by a very large Birdman-like creature, and who picked them up and dropped them back down on solid ground. They were safe. They ran back to the village, and they told, "Hey, we almost died. Almost fell off a cliff being stupid kids, but this Birdman saved our lives." They described it as being grayish white. And the villagers said, well, there are other stories around here of children being saved by a similar creature a few years ago. They called it El Angel. So there are stories all across the world of flying humanoids, Joe. That's what I'm saying here. Yeah, I mean, sounds good.
Well, if you listen to the last show when we talked about, on the Night Talk, we talked about ultra terrestrials and like all that crazy stuff, portals you can open up. I think that this reality is much more intricate
and much more malleable and can let things in from other dimensions. It's not all static here, Joe, is what I'm saying. It's not all static.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Hippy-dippy, wishy-washy, spiritual. I don't know.
Yes.
This is what I want. This is what I need.
Yes.
That's what I do.
I mean, I think I still have sort of the same opinion I had when we talked about a lot of the other stuff. Dogman.
Yeah.
It all feels like Chupacabra. They all kind of blend together with various sort of similarities in their descriptions, and so
they do. They can definitely blend together. Like the difference between Owlman and Mothman, there's not much. There's not much really, and they do kind of share very similar characteristics. It's tough to know when someone's witnessing something that's truly unique and different versus just your run-of-the-mill Mothman. It's tough to know. And it's also tough to distinguish when some people see, oh, I saw a goat man. No. You saw a dog man.
Fight
for it. Fight. No, motherfucker, I saw a goat man. No, you didn't. I was dog man. So that is there is a rundown of the Owlman of England. There are a couple links in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to know more about Owlman. And I have one more cryptozoological story. I'll bring it up on screen here. And this is from the Times of India. Mysterious footprints of mythical beast Yeti sighted, claims Indian Army. Indian Army on Tuesday claimed that one of its teams spotted mysterious footprints of the mythical creature Yeti close to Nepal's Makalu base camp. During the expedition, the mountaineering expedition team came across mysterious marks measuring 32 by 15 inches, which the Army believes are some of the mythical beasts from the beast Yeti. The abominable snowman, Joe. Over here, we call him Bigfoot. Over there, they call him Yeti and the abominable snowman.
Sure.
For the first time, the Indian Army mountaineering expedition team has sighted mysterious footprints. Rejecting derision over its mountaineering team's claim of having found footprints of the mythical Yeti, the Army said that evidence about the abominable snowman has been photographed and will be handed over to subject matter experts for scientific evaluation.
Hey.
The Army further added it held on to the photographic evidence about the abominable snowman for about 10 days, but then decided that they matched earlier theories. Okay, I don't know what that means. There must be a rough translation here because they held on to the photographic evidence for about 10 days and then decided to hand it over because it matched other theories. Okay. So we thought it prudent to go public to excite scientific temper and rekindle the interest, the Army said. The findings were reported to a region located on the border between Nepal and China. Makalu is among the highest mountains in the world and stands near the Makalu Brown Valley, a remote wilderness that has also been surveyed by researchers hunting for Yeti. So, I mean, the Indian Army, we have a world government, Joe, claiming that they got the footprints, they got the Yeti footprints, and on.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, if you got the footprints, I mean, that's just the same as having one in a cage and poking it in the butthole.
It's pretty much exact. It's pretty much the exact same thing. I'm trying to actually put the footprints on screen. They're just refusing to do so. They want to run a Game of Thrones ad for me instead.
Oh, hey, we were just talking about that.
Weird, isn't it? So on screen, what we see, I mean, the footprints aren't super clear. In fact, they look a little melted. But there's
only one possible thing that could have made those marks.
Some sort of foot by a big person or perhaps a Yeti.
That's what I do.
And they have this text on screen video, which we love here, don't we? Don't we, people? Don't we love the text on screen videos? Absolutely.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
And it's just kind of playing out there. So
I think you should save it one monster a week. This should have been next week's monster, so I could have poo-pooed it to the next or Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Are we doing it on Saturday too?
No, just once a week. Saturday? Just once a week. That's it. And I'm just playing it on screen now for everyone. We will.
I want more video. I want more pictures and stuff. Those are the more fun ones.
That's the tough stuff. I will have I'll have a little something next week. I'll have some video evidence that you can evaluate. How about that?
Yeah,
I will. I'll have some video evidence next week of a cryptid.
I need documents.
Okay, let's move on.
Watchful God.
Look at this shit.
All right.
If you want to join the Slack or Discord, give us an email at ourbigdumbmouth@gmail.com. Check out obdmpod.com for all the social media and donation links. Be a part of the magic.